So what makes me cranky about American Assassin? Sudden graphic violence. Don't get me wrong, outside of outright torture porn type stuff, I'm good with a little realistic violence in my action movie, but you gotta be consistent with that stuff. You can't spend an hour with the usual bloodless fight choreography and then suddenly start ripping someone's fingernails out. Really though, it's just a good example of how inconsistent this movie is. Originally what made me cranky with American Assassin was that I couldn't put my finger on why this movie didn't do it for me. It's not especially bad, but it doesn't do anything especially well either. The more I thought about how jarring it is to go from typical Hollywood cutaways to no, we're gonna show you that fingernail coming off, the more I realized it's just that American Assassin feels like somebody had a vision for a realistic, gritty, intense action movie that kept getting notes from the studio to tone it down. I mean, it does start out with some surprisingly intense violence at the beginning, but you don't see anything like that again for a good half an hour, as if that were just to get you to hate the bad guys and then we're done with that. Then suddenly, out of nowhere, you'll get something like a compound fracture showing the bone burst through the skin and everything. Like I said, it's just really jarring. That might also just be a pacing problem, because that hour or so is pretty boring. It's doing a lot of typical action movie stuff, like our off-the-charts talented upstart hero is coming in and being shown the ropes by the wiser, more experienced superhero-type guy that doesn't like him. He's not following orders, but still being proven right when he takes the initiative, etc., etc. All stuff you've seen before, just without the energy or investment better movies have given them. This movie traffics in a lot of tropes and cliches like that, in fact, and I figured the one that would make me the crankiest is the whole actual big bad as an American traitor thing you see in the trailers for this movie, because typically it's used as social commentary. They wouldn't be so evil if it weren't for us manipulating and otherwise provoking them, kind of thing. But American Assassin has absolutely no problem showing brutal Islamist terrorists or Iranians that want to kill Jews, so it kind of balances out. There's another really tired trope that gets subverted that I can't really talk about without spoilers, but that subversion does make the final act of the movie much more exciting than it would have been otherwise. You see this with the acting too. Nobody in the movie is bad, but there aren't any standouts either. The advertising has played up Michael Keaton's role to get people in the theater, but he's actually in the movie enough to justify his time in the trailers, as opposed to the usual big-name actor shows up for 2 seconds and all the marketing talks about is him kind of thing. Keaton gets to go full, you want to get nuts too? So it's worth having him, but his character isn't particularly compelling, and it's certainly not a standout performance of his. Similarly, despite the quotes attached to the trailers, I seriously doubt this performance is going to catapult Dylan O'Brien to the next big action hero, but he isn't the kind of painfully wooden direct-to-DVD action hero either, so there's a lot of mixed bag here. The same can be said for the action stuff, which is presumably the main thing you're interested in if you're going to see a movie called American Assassin. Not too much shaky cam, not too much cutaways, decent choreography and gunplay, but still very little energy to it all. Except for the occasional moments of surprising brutality I mentioned at the start, of course. So that's really the overall story with American Assassin. Most of the time it's an incredibly generic, mediocre action movie, and then every once in a while it'll do something interesting to make up for at least some of the boring cliche stuff you have to yawn through to get there. I wouldn't say run out and see this, but if you do want to see a movie this weekend, it wouldn't be a terrible experience. It's probably best to wait until it comes out on network TV, though, since they'll censor the random graphic violence, and that will likely make the movie feel much more evenly mediocre. That's what I thought about American Assassin anyway. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. And if you want to help me continue to take out bad movies before they can do any damage to the public at large, hit that like button and subscribe to my channel for more reviews.